Good evening to everybody watching at home. You are tuning in to the Amigos Racing Team Wednesday Beetles. This is normally the point where you'd have the friendly American tones of Just Gaming, but unfortunately he is indisposed, so you have to do with me, I'm afraid, the Super Squid. Nonetheless, we can promise you some amazing racing tonight at the one and only Green Hell, the Nürburgring at Nordschleife. If you'd like to get involved with a fantastic Gran Turismo Sport and Formula 1 2021 racing community, we'll make sure you've got a link to the Discord in the video description, of course. We've got leagues of almost every kind, Group 3s, Group 4s, we've got these Beetle races, we've got super ultra endurance races on Sundays, and there will be some specials coming up in the near future as well as we prepare for the GT Fusion Championship. So stay tuned to our Discord, the link will be in the description. In the meantime though, as we say, you're going to join us for the Beetles at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. You're going to see many of our most popular and fastest drivers taking it to the Green Hell itself, starting with this man here, ART Beardy, the curator of Beardy's Beetles. We've also got on the track our resident, if I change the keywords properly, our resident specialist at the Nordschleife, ART Terminator. You see flying over the curbs there, no respect at all. Just down the road from him is Mr. Navoli. We've also got the one and only Tim Pro 23. Joining very late tonight, but hopefully not as late as Tim Pro making the exit at that corner there, is Bradley Carter, already acquainting himself with the track limits in a practice session. From South Africa we have GT Racer 9 in the very striking blue and silver Beetle. We've got the muscles from Brussels himself, Brett Rickett, driving an absolute monster of a car there, if I might say so myself. We've got from the Humble Guys racing team, we have Pebsy GT and his comrade Sonam, both of whom are extremely rapid drivers. We've got Ryan is bad, you know, practicing some donuts on the start line. We discussed Beardy in 10th, we've got Scott here in 11th, we've got Ranger in 12th, there's Ranger, and Willie Bin in 13th, rounding off the grid today. The drive's going to head into a qualifying session first, as you can see here, 12 minutes long to accommodate for the extended lap of the Nordschleife, but this should only really allow for one flying lap at best. I think what we'll do is we will ride aboard with the current championship leader Sonam as he heads out of the Mercedes arena and onto the GP circuit. Of course, we're doing the Nordschleife 24 layout, so the endurance section with the Grand Prix circuit and then the extended track above. If you are tuning in, please feel free to drop a like on the video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you are enjoying this kind of content. We've got lots more to show you from this series and our various other competitions. And if you know the guys who are racing, throw a comment our way. Who do you think is going to be your pick of the bunch for tonight? My money will be, I think, on this man here, Sonam, extraordinarily quick around almost any track you put him on. So unfortunately, it's not much competition if you see him at the front of the pack. But I think a dark horse as well might be Ryan Badgino, also knows a thing or two about the Green Hell and was very excited to see this in the roster. You see his Beetles soaring triumphantly through the last three corners of the GP circuit. Let me get my track map up as well. So, the Nürburgring 24. If I can find the right picture. There we go. So it's roughly 21 kilometres, more or less, I think, of unbridled countryside chaos. You can see the drivers here getting fairly bunched up as they make their way out on the outlap, of course. Just really joining the real Nordschleife itself here through the winding curves around Hatzenbach and so on. But we should be expecting lap times of around maybe 7.5 to 8 minutes. And of course, that's assuming the drivers don't get involved in any crazy shenanigans. The excursions onto the infield and liaisons with their friend Barry R. Hopefully nobody will be sent to the Shadow Realm this evening, but it's bright, as you can see, so hopefully they'll be able to see their way around each other. God forbid they were doing the circuit at night. Absolutely impossible. Not a fan of the Nordschleife. I would be racing myself this evening, but one, I'm not a big fan. 2, I've done no practice. 3, I've had a hell of a long day at work. And 4, I wanted to make sure we had some commentary for the channel, as Justin, as you say, is away. I'm really trying to find a decent track map. I can't find one. That's what I need it to be. Let's have a look here. We're going to follow Ryan's Bad and Terminator, I suppose, in sequence as they head through the Adenauer Forest towards the northwestern corner of the track through Mezgerfeld and Kallenau. I'm definitely pronouncing these absolutely to the German, as it should be. Alright. If you're watching again, put a comment in who you think is going to be on the money for tonight. My bet, as I say, is on Sonam or Cuzzy here, Ryan's Bad, you know, but as we said before, Terminator is more than capable of holding his own through the field. Quick reminder as well, for those of you maybe aren't so sure of the race format, we've got the qualifier here, as you can see. The first race, unlike our normal sprint feature style, is the feature race first. So they'll be able to qualify on any tyre compound they like, and we'll have to use that compound to start the feature race. You'll be seeing 4 times tyre wear and 3 times fuel multiplier, and there are no restrictions on which tyres they can use during the race, apart from starting on the qualifying compound. The second race will be 30-minute race, as the first race will be. A reverse grid of the first race, but with no tyre or fuel usage, and that is pretty much a flat-out sprint for half an hour. Our current championship standings are Sonam in P1 with 100... Oh, it is Pebsy, I should say. Pebsy in P1 with 129 points. Sonam is just behind him on 126, so it's a very close-fought battle between the two humble guys. We've got Beardy, I hope maybe he's in P9, no, he's in P10. Beardy in P3 with 101 points, and then we've got Ryan is Bad on 100 points exactly. So we've got 2 very close battles for the top 4 places. I'm in 5th on 86, I'm fairly proud of that, given I've not done all the races yet. We have Lango in P6 on 84, who unfortunately is not with us tonight either. We've got Willie D, there's Willie D, in P7 with 80 points. Terminator on 59 points. Ranger is in P9, there's Ranger in 9th, also P9 in the championship with 55, 1 point ahead of Tim Pro in P10. Scott, who is not at the back, I've jumped to the wrong place, there's Scott in P4. Scott is 11th in the lead, or 11th in the championship with 50 points. Then we have GT Racer on 48 points. Mr. Navoli, have I missed it? He's on 11th on the track. There you go. Mr. Navoli is 13th on 31 points. We've then got Bitmappy. I don't think he's in the Lappy in the Lappy. Bitmappy in the Lappy. Bitmappy's not in the lobby on 21 points. Bradley Carter on 20 points. And the last 2 entries there are THG Muller and New Zealand Cowboy, who are not with us tonight either. So let's make sure that our video is shared in the Discord. Good stuff. And while I'm here as well, we'll also put our link to the Discord in the description. So if you know anyone that wants to get involved, send them this way. Right, good job. can see the drivers making their way around the final complex of the Nürburgring through oh, if I could pronounce this one right, that'd be insane. How many letters? Goodness me, German. Schwaldensville and Gallenkopf. There we are, and now heading down the one I do know, the Dottinger Höhe, towards the end of the Nordschleife. So it's going aboard because we look at the enormous effect of the slipstream here, up to 170 miles an hour as he pulls out of the slipstream, heading past Terminator. You see him in the rearview mirror? Oh, there he is. Thank you very much, Ryan. Under the Bilstein tunnel, a very slight kink left there, and now he's got to really start thinking about slowing down to head into the final section of the Nordschleife. These S's can make or break your lap, especially in the dying seconds of a race with the tyre wear at its peak. So he's getting very close to the barrier there as he heads on to his one and only flying lap. You can see there, no tyre wear or fuel usage for the qualifier, so really using the maximum range of the Beetle. Cuzzy there in the the shattered glass effect, which is quite cool there. He was a shout out to his friend Darren, who makes his liveries with a couple of spray cans and some stencils he got from Poundland. For a little while, we've been focusing on Cuzzy for a while. Let's have a look over at Brett, who is one of the fastest guys in the league, it must be said. Extraordinarily quick, the Belgian. Had a very few interesting races with him over the past couple of days, including the warm-up for the Sprint Series, which is occurring on Tuesday, starting from next week, the Group 3 Sprint Series. A lot of cars driven last night, ranging from the Porsche 911 to the Hyundai Genesis, a couple of people in the Peugeot RCZ, and a few Aston Martins and McLarens thrown in for good measure. Again, if you want to get involved with those, we could even consider running a second tier if we get the numbers up. So again, if you want to get involved, Discord link is in the description. In the meantime, we'll follow Brett heading through the Grand Prix circuit. And ready for the last two corners. So around the Advan curve there, heading up to the NGK chicane, and then eventually onto the Nordschleife. Of course, using the slightly wider version of the chicane, but still possible to get yourself a penalty, and around here the penalties aren't particularly easy to shift. With so many tight corners and braking zones, you really haven't got a chance to put off. As already there, I think we've got Scott as unfortunately to forfeit his lap to a subpar, or at least because he was face to Brett there for a subpar entry onto the Nordschleife. Probably one of the few tracks that we'll see from this group of elite drivers where the lap times are actually separated by multiple seconds. Normally it's a fairly close-knit field, but with such a long lap here at the Nordschleife, and again expecting about maybe 7 to 8 minutes, I'm sure we're likely to see some wider variance in the lap times. A couple of stats to roll off here while we look following Scott and Brett over the Flugplatz, I believe it is. There's the Flugplatz. 12.8 miles of ribbon tarmac, 73 corners, 300 metre elevation changes. Very, very big dip there in the highs and lows of this track. Over 7,000 YouTube crash compilations as Brett makes that 7,001. Unfortunately, that's a very poorly timed comment from myself there. But yes, I think we've even got the famous YouTube corner, which I always think comes a bit earlier than it should do. But we'll find that one very soon, I'm sure. But yeah, 7,000 YouTube crash videos, absolutely nuts. One thing that often isn't discussed is the cost of the Nürburgring, as Brett tries to eke out a couple more euros of damage on his Beetle. The Nürburgring is not a cheap place to get to. It might only be about 25 euros for a public lap, but if they close the circuit, it costs over 1,000 euros an hour. You have to pay for each metre of Armco that you've ruined. You've got to pay for the safety car, you've got to pay for the recovery truck, you've got to pay for the cleaners. So having an accident here is really not worth your time or money. So even if you go in there with a couple of mates for a laugh, it's really only worth doing if you're going to be safe and sensible. So oddly enough, I'm checking a map here of the track, and it's got danger points marked out on it, and there are probably more danger points on this track than most tracks have corners. As I believe we are approaching one now there through the Nürburgring, I believe it's called. So at this point the drivers are still only about halfway around the lap, about 9.5, 10 kilometres around. So it's really not a short run by any means. We get back on board there with Brett. As you see, he's got a little bit of traffic there with Pebsy and Scott in front of him. Now of course on a much shorter track this really might damage your lap, but through these longer power sections of the Nordschleife, it's a chance for him to sit in the slipstream and get a little bit of a tow to head into the braking zone over at Bergberg. And now again another small chance to put his foot down here through the left. We're now about 11 kilometres halfway through the lap now, down towards Kesselchen. We've got another danger point marked here. Some of these bumps can really throw the cars off balance. A little bit too much pace, you find yourself in that barrier on the right hand side. But now we've got a nice opportunity here to really build up some speed. Heading down now through Costatal, but again, this traffic they've got with the slipstream is really nice to adapt the brakes to sit behind each other for any longer than they need to. Might be worth it even just a little bump draft to keep your own momentum. As we're heading to the tight right hand, you see Scott there conceding to the faster drivers. As Brett heads into the right side, but a little bit late on the brakes there. He's found himself in the grass. We're going to move up over to Pebsy as he heads into the Carcella carousel, the first of the two carousels here. Pebsy sticking to the inside line, the very bumpy relayed tarmac there, and then back out wide at the 14 kilometre mark now. So we've got a tight right-hander, throws it left-hander, throws it straight back into the right there, heading now through the Hoak. Another right-hander again. Again, it's very short bursts of power you find in this kind of third quarter of the track. It's often, you know, throwing the car left, right, not much time to think or concentrate. Corners being thrown at you every chance you get. So through the right-hander there. Now the left-hander coming out of Brunchen, I believe. And now heading down to Plansgarden, and of course the infamous YouTube corner, where you'll probably see many cars going off at this kind of angle here, exactly this camera angle. Glad I found that one. But that Pebsy makes it through unscathed. We get back on board with Pebsy now as he heads down the hill. Mike saying, where's Ranger? Ranger is at the back of the pack, but he's still on his lap. As Pebsy, oh, very close there, dips his toes on the grass, but manages to keep it in one piece. Now heading down out of the Flansgarten, throwing a car onto each of these curbs here, heading up towards the second carousel here, through Schwaldensville, I believe. I really want to excite my German here, I wish I'd studied it at school. And here comes the second carousel there. Again, there's another danger point because the car's going to get very uneven as they head through the tarmac there. You see the tarmac actually worn off slightly on the right hand side where the cars keep running over it. And now into probably the last two real tricky corners of the Nordschleife itself. This right-hander that never seems to end until finally it does open out onto the Dottinger Höhe. Let's see how fast Pebsy can go down the straight with no slipstream. It's up at least to over 150 miles now. It's 250 k's. Getting ready to put into 7th gear. Revving the absolute nuts off of that Beetle as he flies down the back straight. Let's see, you've got there Brett and Scott in the background. I think that is GT Racer just coming onto the straight now as well. And they're starting to set the pace there with an 8:05 lap. That is a very, very interesting lap indeed. So Ace is 8:07, Ryan is 8:09, so still 2 seconds each away from each other. Pebsy's not going to make that 8:05, I don't think, but he should still be on for at least 4th place. It's an 8:10 from Pebsy. Brett is going to set an 8:17, so definitely far off the pace from him. Scott is also very far off the pace, 8:24, and 8:14 from GT Racer sees him up in P5. We jump down to, let's see, Timpro crossing the line there, an 8:17.1, so he pushes Brett and Scott down further still. Beardy making his way down the Dottinger Höhe. He's got a lot of time to make up if he wants to be anywhere near that astonishing time set by Sono, it must be said. run aboard quickly with our host of the most as he heads into the final section here. The Tiergarten, I believe. I hope you're not called the Tiergarten because it's where people cry as they stop their lap. But he's not going to beat Sunham, he's not going to beat Terminator, he's not going to beat Ryan. Where is he going to finish? P5, a solid qualifying time there from the bearded one. As our next driver to cross the line will be ART Ranger in his floral livery, I think we'll say there. Heading under the Bilstein Bridge. So making 170 miles an hour and he heads down into the Tiergarten now. Easy on the brakes, down to fourth, down to third. Not snatching second, but you have to push that hard, really hard then. So you see his lap already, an 8 minute 42, not having a good time here. This will probably see him at the back of the pack at least. And 8.47, not his best time by quite a way. Mr. Navoli though will pip him by about 7 seconds. Good time from Mr. Navoli. There's Willie D throwing the car in to the Tiergarten. He's not going to make the top three at the moment. Let's see where he comes across the line. He is the lad on the pad, but he's not had a good time here. Puts him into P9, it'll do for now. Our last driver then, Bradley Carter, coming around the final corner. Will he be anywhere near Willie D? It's going to be a 16, I think. Oh, 15.2 into P7. Good job there from Bradley Carter. It's now about to get underway. Nürburgring 24. So we've got 13 Beetles ready to go. And I think I've just found a much better track map. Lovely. Okay. So we've got 3 red lights, 4 red lights, and we are away. Sunham leads the way. You can see there an enormous start. I think that's for Willie D. Snaking out the way of a car which possibly had a false start. He's side by side with Terminator, who had an excellent launch there off of the grid, and he's going to try and get the inside of Sunham, but Sunham will now have the inside for the next corner, keeping Terminator wide, keeping him honest, and it will be Sunham who takes the lead out of the Mercedes-Benz arena. Terminator still in P2, Pepsi in P3, Ryan in 4th, Bradley Carter up into 5th already, which is a great start from him, 2 places off the line. GT Racer in 6th, unfortunately Brett is not having a good time in P7 for number 107. Beardy is in 8th place, Scott is 9th, Willie D 10th, Ranger is going to move on down in 11th place, Navoli is 12th, and Tim Pryor I think has had a bit of an accident at the start of that race. He's quite far off the back, he's found himself 9 seconds off the pack and down in last place. We'll have a quick though from the view of Sonam. If I get the stats back up, there we go. Let's see how things are from the rear wing of THG Sonam. Terminator having a little bit earlier on the brake, so it's costing some time as they head out of the Schumacher S's. We're now going to see them heading down the Advan curve and heading towards the NGK chicane and out of the GP circuit. See those little Pepsi getting very sideways. We get back there. Pepsi now side by side with Cuzzy, who's now gone clean around the outside, I think. He's still there possibly. Let's have a quick look. He's just behind us there. We look in the mirrors there, you can see Cuzzy right up his rear. Pepsi's still getting very sideways out the back. You can barely see anything out that rear view, but Cuzzy is pushing him hard. Bradley Carter just behind with that one almost second penalty there. Oops, if I can get the outside view, that'd be much better. The Pepsi will lead this train of cars there from P3 downwards. There's Cuzzy in 4th, Bradley in 5th there, and he's got Brett right up his shaft now in P6. And Brett probably having to maybe time his move a little bit more, waiting until they get onto the straight downhill through the dip of Hatson back here. Maybe he's going to wait for a good lap to try and take him before the tight right-hander at Arenberg. We'll have to see. So Brett now is right behind him there, almost a tenth, if not less. If I can get the controls to work now, that'd be lovely. There we go, right behind him there, Justice for Chubbs, all up in his face. Avoiding the grass this time, fortunately, but has to be on the brakes to avoid running into the back of Bradley Castle. Will he get a better exit though? You see all the guards from Dash there, flaring aggressively as he puts his foot down, gets onto the boost. But still not relenting. It's Bradley Carter. He's got a rear full of rear Beetle there, but cannot find a way past him for the life of him. Both have to be careful now as they head through the Callum Harden Adenauer complex. Of course, that caution means that Bradley's starting to just pull away a little bit. We can see as well already the start of some tyre wear on Brett's tyres there, on the soft tyres he's gone for here, as I believe most of the drivers did. Of course, the tyre wear will become a feature, especially with such a long lap. Drivers, if they make a mistake and burn those tyres, will have a very painful crawl back to the pit lane. We jump to the front of the pack again though, very quickly see how Sonam is getting on. He's already 1.9 seconds up on his next closest competitor in Terminator, making that 2 seconds as he has a good exit there around through Versiphon, I believe. Here comes Terminator in P2. Pepsi is in third, still got Cuzzy right on his tail there. Going to have to look back from Pepsi then as he tries to fend off Cuzzy. It's pulled away a little bit from him there as they head round through the X-Mooler there and back up onto the track. Of course, the X-Mooler is one of the only few parts where there is a speed limit on the Nordschleife. Of course, that's only for public driving. At this point, no speed limits, of course, will be enforced on a race day. We see there, Cuzzy gets right into the slipstream of Pebsy there, almost touching him, but avoiding contact. Cuzzy running a little bit wide there, almost onto the grass. Good save there from Ryan. We get back to the front though from Pebs. You can see he tries to close in on Terminator. He's not quite within that slipstream distance yet, which we know if you play GT Sport is about 7.5 tenths. He's still got 2 tenths to make up, but he's got plenty of time here to get his foot down as they head through Kessel and Klostertal, sorry. Again, to make sure he takes the corners a little tighter, a little bit earlier on the power when he can be. But he's not quite working out for him. He's still 1 tenth back, but more importantly, he's got Cuzzy 1 second back. Cuzzy is 1/10.5 back. I think Cuzzy just lifting off there as they head through that kinks on the straight to make sure there's no contact. But Cuzzy with a slightly worse exit there as they head towards the carousel. As I'm sure we'll see almost all the drivers taking that tight inside line. Here comes Bradley still with that penalty on him and still with Brett right behind him. But they're back, and I think they've brought Beardy into the fray now, who's only half a second behind, was just about in the slipstream of Brett, but might lose it if they have much more of a straightaway. Let's run aboard then with Beardy if we can see how he's getting on. For watching this battle with Bradley and Brett. So heading down now, down the Hedvig's Horror through Whipperman, or probably Wipperman I should say, and now Esba. Still almost inseparable at that point. But now I think they're maybe trying to be a little bit more careful though. Beardy running very wide, almost onto the grass, but he does keep it in shape. Now up to the infamous YouTube corner. We're going to see any incidents here. Bradley clipping the gravel, a bit of dust kicked up, but no, all clean for the time being. So a running order as we hit the first half of lap 1. We've got Sonam now 2.5 seconds up on Terminator. Still's got that 1 second gap to Pebsy. Terminator knows this track extremely well, will need that to his advantage. Meanwhile, Pebsy and Cuzzy going side by side. Ryan around the outside, I believe, of Pebsy there, as we get a replay of that maybe a little bit, see if he holds his position as they head up to the second carousel. Cuzzy still, of course, his battling is costing Cuzzy and Pebsy time to Terminator as he pulls away in front of him, trying to get that time back up to Sonam. But this is a very good battle here for P3. While they're turning here, we'll quick see if we can get a replay of how Cuzzy managed to get past Pebsy there. Pebsy, he ran a little bit wide there, gets a bit sideways. Now we see Cuzzy pull alongside. Oh, pushed onto the grass, but an excellent move there to keep that place from Cuzzy, and then shuts the door on Pebsy's face. Now though, Cuzzy has managed to catch up to Terminator as well, so it seems that Terminator must have had a bad run through Gallagher Cop, and now he's being caught by Cuzzy on the Dottinger Her. We'll have to see if Cuzzy has got the speed to pull past him, or he's going to try and bump Terminator up towards Sonam instead. Very interesting. It's not cost him time to Cuzzy, to Pepsi, more importantly, so he's going to try and use Terminator, I think, maybe as a bit of a buffer, to use him to drag himself away from Pepsi in P4 and hopefully escape from him as they head back onto the GP circuit. Cuzzy giving a little bit more space to Terminator there as they head through the Tiergarten and back onto the GP circuit, but that's not worked out for him at all. He's lost time to Terminator, and now he'll be under threat from Pepsi as they head down the start-finish straight. There's Pepsi now on the left-hand side of your screen. They're showing his ice past Cuzzy. He's now got P3. Will he hold that inside line into the turn one? We'll have to see. And he has got that move done before they even make the apex. Good opportunistic driving there from Pepsi. Pushes Cuzzy back down to P4. Beardy though, side by side with Brett. Good time for me there. He's turned in a little bit of bumping there from Brett, a little bumping back from Beardy. Well, I suppose they do say rubbing is racing, but it seems to be pretty under wraps, under control from them. Urban Fire says lays for the win. Well, he's got a big battle on his hands there, Urban Fire. We know how capable Sonam is in the Beetle around any circuit. But of course, I'm sure we'd love to see his winning streak terminated, I'm sure we can say. So Beardy there trying to hunt down Brett for P5. Bradley Carter trying to hunt down Beardy for P6. He's managed to shave off 8/10 of his penalty. Got a tiny bit more to go, but of course he can do that at any point around the lap, I believe. We then have GT Racer in P8 with about 2 to 3 seconds either side of him, so he's got some clean air to run in. Hopefully this is a chance for him to put some time back in his race and catch up to the pack in front of him. We've got Scott in P9, and again another bit of a lonely race for him so far. 3 seconds in front, 6 and a bit seconds behind to Willie D. One of our faster drivers, but on the medium tyres, yes, he might not be looking for a pit stop in this race if he can avoid it. We can see though, we're about 20 minutes into a 30-minute race. He's got about a third of a tank gone, so he could possibly make the no stop if he's careful with his fuel management. It'd be an interesting strategy to see here. He's got 8.5 seconds up on Tim Pro P11, who we saw have that incident at the start of the race, but still pulled out 21.4 seconds to Ranger in P12, and he has 20 seconds up on Mr. Navoli in P13. Again, if you're tuning in, drop your comments. Drop your comments in the winners. Drop your winners in the comments. Who do you think is going to be running away for this event? We said there, Urban Fire thinks it's going to be Lays the Terminator. I've said it's probably going to be this guy, Sonam, or I think Ryan is Bad might give him a run for his money if there's a bit of a mishap. We're going to check back here on Terminator as he's only got 3/10 up on Cuzzy as he heads through Schwaldensville. Was it Schwaldensville? I need to learn these names. I know a lot of me at the Nürburgring, but it's historical knowledge. So we got their Terminator now heading under the Yokohama gantry there, down towards the Metzgerfeld and Kallenau complex there. Less than a tenth now. They are almost bumper to bumper. Cuzzy almost pushing him down the hill there, but now lifting off a bit to make sure he's got some comfort in the braking zone and make sure he can pick out his braking points. Cuzzy now back down to a 6/10 gap. He's lost almost his entire slipstream there, just from maybe being a little bit too conservative. So now he's got to put his foot back down. In the background lurking there is Pepsi. But he's about 4 seconds off that battle, about 3.5 up on his next closest contender, who is Brett Rickett, and he's only got half second up on Beardy, who is still trying to reel him in. He's been doing so since the back straight of lap 1. 2 and a bit seconds up to Bradley Carter in P7, still with that 10th penalty lurking over his head. 5 seconds back is Scott 701, and then GT Racer is just about a second behind him. I think he was lurking in the slipstream, but has managed to evade it there as they head out onto the Futura. There's GT Racer there. Willie D still down in P10, about 7.5, 6 seconds either side of him. Tim Pro in 11th, Ranger 12th, as a Ranger maybe was considering maybe trying to ditch his penalty in that corner. Still got half a second to go though. and then Mr. Navoli in P13, trying to keep it clean. See if we can jump back to this battle here with Terminator and Cuzzy. Terminator, the only Danish driver on the grid, but clearly finds itself at home on the continent, fending off the Brit in P3 there. Of course, we've seen the gap between these two ranging from, you know, about a second to a tenth. It's literally going to go anywhere depending on their favourite sectors of the track. We know they both adore the ring. Cuzzy now really pulling up on late in the slipstream. Is there a move going on? No, there's going to be a bump draft instead. They're trying to keep him out of the way of Pepsi GT, who is our current championship leader. Oh, sorry, second championship leader, I believe. No, he's in the lead, but by only 1 point to Sunham, yes. So, of course, the further away they get from Pepsi, the more points they can keep in their pocket. You now see the Terminator braking into the tight right-hander before approaching the carousel. I'm sure again we'll both see them take that tight inside line. They're scrubbing off some speed, but using the banking to maintain some momentum and slingshot them out of the carousel. Again, lurking in the background there is Pepsi, only 3 seconds away from this duo, so any kind of intense fighting or accident, and I'm sure we'll see him roaring up onto the back of them. Of course, normally where I check the track map to see if there are any battles going on or any close racing. Can't really tell here because all the arrows are stuck on top of each other for the first 2 laps. So we jump back to Brett as we think we can see, I think he has now gotten past Beetle finally, and he's up into P5 with almost a second over him now. Actually, he's really put the hammer down trying to get away. You can see that he's coming at the cost of his fuel. We'll have to see if he's got another lap left in him, at least of fuel, because that is not going to be going down at a near manageable speed as he gets very sideways there. Beetle trying to get on the inside of him now. He's showing his nose, but Brett has just about cut it off there. So Beetle will have to wait for another moment, I think, and we'll maybe sit on board with Beetle for a little bit as he chases down Brett. Not the best exit there for him as he comes out of Brunchen, I believe, or Brunchen. Now they're going to head through the Flansgarten. Again, another very dangerous part of the track, especially here where the cars might even catch a little bit of air. Although not so much in Gran Turismo, but definitely in real life. Now heading through towards Schwaldensville. Another dangerous part of the track where the second mini carousel puts you in real danger of throwing you off your balance. Of course, where the car will get very light at the rear, it's very easy to put your power down and get sideways, but Beetle keeping to the inside, making sure all 4 wheels are glued to the tarmac. He is, however, losing time to Brett there to make sure he really nails Gagenkopf here, the multiple right-hand corner out onto the Dottinger hill to make sure he can get back in the slipstream of Brett. But I don't think he's going to do it. He's just not had the grip on the corner exit. And we're losing time, a hand over 5th to the Belgian. We've got Bradley Carter there in the background, GT Racer in 8th. There's Scott in 9th, trying to hunt down GT Racer. We'll run for them with Scott for a little bit. I think so, the Gas Monkey Garage Beetle there. I've never seen Gas Monkey Garage in a very long time. Why don't they still show it? So if you're not a fan of the other TV shows, though, including Narcos. You see that Sonam going into the pits there on 25% fuel, and actually we're going to jump back to Willie D. Cuzzy doing a much better job of fuel saving there. He's got a third of a tank left. How's Willie D doing though? Because he was trying to go for that no stopper, I think. He's still got just under half a tank, but we do have just under half the race to go. So provided we don't have to do multiple laps and he won't run out of fuel, he could just pull off the 1 stop. We'll have to see. We'll stay with Willie D as he presumably won't hit. Let's see where the others come out. Bradley Carter was on the super soft. He's done very well to try and manage those for the 2 laps around the track, but will he go for them again? I'm not sure. Sonam comes out the pits with a it's been probably about an 8-second lead, I'd say, by the time it all balances out. Or 9 seconds, maybe a bit more, 10 seconds. No, you got 8-second lead. But more importantly, though, Willie D pulls out just in front of Pepsi. Pepsi, having put on a fresh set of soft tyres and filled his car to the brim, does have the grip on corner exit. Willie D will have those warm medium tyres and gets back past Willie D. We've also got Terminator there on the inside of Willie D. Will he make a second overtake on him as well? He's got the inside for the first corner, but not for the second. Willie D should be able to keep him honest on the outside of the track there, and he does, but Terminator goes for a very, very smart cutback here. Can he show his nose and get past him as they head down into the Dunlop curve there? The Dunlop hairpin, I should say. He does indeed. He keeps that position. And now Willie D is down in P5, but again, with a fairly worn set of tyres, I will have to be saving some fuel here. And the question is, can he keep up with Terminator as they then head onto his favourite part of the track? I'm not sure they're going to. We'll double check as well with Brett, who I believe stopped as well. He has indeed stopped for a fresh set of soft tyres. So I'm sure we'll see that delta between him and Willie D drop drastically as they get into the twisties of the Nordschleife. So just to recap your running order after we've had our first 2 laps and a round of pit stops, we have THG Sunham in first place, 3.9, make that 4 seconds up on Cuzzy. Ryan is bad in P2, who's managed to undercut both Pebsy and Terminator in third and fourth by saving a little bit extra fuel in the pits. Willie D, who has not stopped, he's trying to go all the way on his no stopper fuel medium tyres, is in P5, but has already lost a second to Brett Rickett, and we're not even in the hard part of the track yet. So I'm sure we will see Willie D down to 6th place at some point. We've got Beardy there in second, stopped just behind Brett, and is now 1.2 seconds down now on the Belgian. We've got Timpro up in P8. A good recovery drive from Timpro, but he's not stopped yet. And actually, with only a quarter tank of fuel left, the question is, can he make it round for one more lap without burning through all of his fuel? Because if he gets stranded out on the Nordschleife, it's a very lonely drive back to the pits. We've got Bradley Carter in P9, who has stopped. I'm sure we'll see him catch up to Timpro, who might have to be saving fuel. Scott in P10, just behind him there, heading down the Flugplatz. GT Racer in 11th. We've got Mr. Navoli in 12th place. And then we've got Ranger, who I believe has probably paused the game and gone for a kebab, or a pizza, or a burger. I have to find out what he's gone for after the race. Sunham is really pulling away now from Ryan is bad, really putting his foot down. He's got a 3.8 second gap there over the Brit. But more importantly for Ryan, he's got a 5 second gap over Pebsy, as we've got some interesting bot comments there. So I better report those. Those are very good. There we go. We can time them out, I think. Lovely. There we go. Right. I don't think we need any 18 plus webcams on here. Anyway, back to the action, I'm afraid. So, yes, Kazi with a 6.5 second gap there over Pebsy, but now Pebsy under threat from the Terminator himself. We're right on board there with the Terminator. We have a little bit more of a spicy cockpit view there. The Terminator there heading through the right-hander up at Bergberg and now through the left-hand complex of Kesselchen. I do really admire the interior of the Beetle. It's quite minimalist, but I do think that rev counter is really cool. So he's lost a little bit of time to Pebsy here through his complex. Pebsy's a second and a couple of hundredths up on him. And now Terry's now shifting up into 7th gear, which I don't think in this section of the track is particularly good for the Beetle. It does lose a lot of its power and torque in that lower rev range. They need the turbo to really spool up in the higher RPMs. So it's like throwing the car in regards and now slamming on the anchors all the way down to 2nd gear in a very tight apex as he heads towards the carousel. A little bit of exit curve for good measure. Unfortunately, still not made any time yet on Pebsy in P3. As we head down the field there, Brett has really been caught up now by Beardy. So we'll sit with Beardy for a little while instead. Oops, yeah, why not? Bit of my cockpit here, why not? Beardy there in P6, chasing down the Belgian in 5th place. So now head through the left hand of the 14-kilometre mark there, out of 21. So they're about 2/3 way round now. Up through the Horat and then into the Hedwigshoorn. Brett getting just a slightly better exit through this complex. Maybe he's got a little bit more brake bias to the rear, so he's got a bit more rotation in the car. We can throw it out of the straights, really slingshot it through the exits there. Now through the tight right hand again, a bit of a blind exit there, down onto the left now. He's really reeled that gap back into Brett now, 3/10 less, but now lost a little bit on the exit again. He really seems to be drawing close in the corners. Now heading towards YouTube corner, but no instance here, I don't think. A question I want to know is how they get all the graffiti on the track without getting run over. It seems that Brett just about has Beardy on the corner exits each time. Beardy's really good at drawing up to him on the entry, but I think he maybe overcooks it slightly. That costs him more time on the exit. And now Brett is trying to escape that crucial slipstream distance. Beardy's trying his desperate best to get back in, but 8/10 is not close enough to get the draft off of Brett. He's now almost a second back instead. So he's really got to try and be careful with those corner entries, maybe a little bit more cautious. Slowing fast out perhaps, not compromise his exits to make sure he gets back into the slipstream. We'll slide down the pack a little way more, see if we've got any battling. This battle is 10 seconds up the road from Tim Pro. He's managed to get past Willie D as well. Willie D's now down in 8th place, unfortunately. So having lost places there to Beardy and Tim Pro, although you see that Tim Pro's fuel indicator is flashing dangerously though. We got Mike in the chat saying Tim Pro doing very well, mate. He has done very well so far to keep going after he was involved in a spin at the start. But this will be where we see Tim Pro lose 1 or 2 more places, I believe, as he will have to make a pit stop for fuel and most likely for some new tyres. So this will relinquish Willie D back up into 7th place, of course, going for that very brave no-stopper. Let's see, he has to hope he's got 1 more lap of fuel left in the tank with about 5 minutes of our race left. These guys will definitely have time for 1 more lap, maybe apart from the absent Ranger, who I believe is still only about halfway around lap 3. We'll track back quickly to Scott there in P9. He's 1 of the bit seconds up on Bradley Carter, but here's a battle going on now. Bradley Carter's trying to fend off GT Racer down the Dottingerhöhe, but he's just about, I think, let him go, GT Racer, as they head into the Tiergarten, the final few corners of the Nordschleife. Tim Pro comes in with 4% fuel. You have a fair fill up to do there and a new set of boots. Just not too sure where that will put him. Looks like GT Racer might have been a little bit more conservative, and he should have been. He's now lost the slipstream to Bradley Carter. Urban Fire saying, is Ranger playing golf already? Well, those of us that know Ranger are probably familiar with his tendency to play golf after the races, but not normally during them. So I very much hope he's still with us in the event. Tim Pro leaves the pits, but he's still 1.5 minutes up on Mr. Navoli, so I don't think he's got any major concerns about losing 12th place. As we then all quickly check on Ranger, who's going for a very interesting line there through the carousel on his lonesome. So this should be the last lap of our first race here at the Nordschleife. Again, you'll be followed by another 30-minute race, but with no tyre wear, no fuel, and I'm sure we should see them a little bit more bunched up and really going for it. As Sonam saying, going for it sets the fastest sector at the start of the Nordschleife, and he's almost 5 seconds up there on his next closest rival. Ryan is bad, is still pulling away from the guys in P3 and 4. He's made the most of that extra fuel he saved in the pit stops, and is now almost 7 seconds up on Pepsi in P3. Pepsi though has managed to pull away from Terminator, dropped him by 3 and a bit seconds. Here is Terminator, who started very strongly, was most of the race in P2, but I believe maybe his strategy and his time management have let him down. You can see that his front tyres are really starting to wear already. Might be worth him considering moving the brake bias back just a touch to conserve those front tyres as he heads into the twistier sections of the Nordschleife. You can just see though, the back of Pebsy's car in shot, and that will only be motivating the Terminator. If you've seen the film, you know when he acquires his target, there is no stopping. We've got Brett in P5, has now gapped Beardy by 1.5 seconds there as they head out the Flugplatz, which is what he wants to see. Beardy, though, is still 20 seconds up there on Willie D, so I really don't think that one stop has paid off for him, unfortunately. I think it would be best for Willie D to maybe go more aggressive and keep with the pack. Of course, he's got no slipstream now. Now will only be pulling away. Mike in the comments there saying, come on, Ryan, you can get the win. And Ranger's gone to the kebab shop. Let's have a look. What if it's about 25 past 9? I suppose that is the time. But this could also be time for Scott to make a move on the waning Willie D. And he has done indeed, right before they get to the trickiest section there at Arenberg through the Schwaldensville. So that's a good move there by Scott. Willie D now down to P8. I believe he was 8 when he came into the pit, when they came to the pits. So now I have to see if he starts to kill low on fuel as well. Bradley Carter is now closing in on Willie D. Let's get on board there with Brad and see his view of things there. The aggressively orange Beetle. A little bit of understeer for the Beetle, I think. There we hear the tyre squealing. Willie D missing one apex here, grabbing the other one for dear life. But Bradley Carter will slingshot out of here. A little bit of contact possibly as he rakes up onto the back of Willie D. He takes the inside line, which will help him through the next tight left-hander, and he's ahead of him before they even get there. Willie D now is only slipping backwards, and I'm sure he's really regretting his strategy choice this evening. So is Willie D in P9. We can also see on the Delta, and there he is there, GT Racer, starting to pull into the clutching distance there of Willie D, 2.9 seconds, maybe losing a little bit here, but he will pull that back through the other handling sections. We can see that Pebsy, I believe, is now overtaken Terminator. No, he did it before, never mind, I'm stupid. Go back then to Willie D, 2.1 up on GT Racer there. You can see those rear tyres now starting to give way, getting a little bit slidey out of some of these corners. Going to head down now into the X-Müller. As we now have our official final lap notification up on the screen there now. So this is the last blast to the finish line. As I believe Ranger is going to take no flag. He's going to stop on the line. He's had his kebab and he's ready to race. Fantastic. So we've got Pebsy now running a fairly lonely race. 7 seconds down on Cuzzy, but 4 and a bit seconds up on Terminator as he heads towards the carousel for the last time this race. There's Terminator in 4th, just coming around the corner now is Brett, so he really is trying to reel in that distance now. Going flat out there. Beardy just behind though, see him in the background, but 2.7 seconds. I don't think it's going to be close enough unless we see a major mistake from the Belgian. Here goes Beardy through the carousel now. A healthy 23-second gap to Scott. As Scott, unfortunately, cut to him, he's got into a huge spin. Bradley Carter goes flying past him. We might even see GT Racer come up behind him. And there he is in the background. There goes GT Racer. And there goes Willie D as well. Up the inside, possibly. Willie D's got those worn tyres. Not to be for the time being. GT Racer is very slow out of that right-hander. We can see though Scott there has some serious damage there to the front of his car and to the front left suspension. This might just hamper him heading through the carousel, or at least in some of these right-handers maybe. The damage seems to be cleared up now, so he should be good to go. But let's get a quick look, see if we can find out what happened to Scott there. So let's look from the outside. He just clipped the grass, he's tried to keep his foot in it, and then it's spun out on him instead. One spin there, just the one, keeps it on the track fortunately, but then also has the presence of mind to get out the way of the drivers coming past him there, namely GT Racer and Willie D. Very unfortunate there for Scott. Has he managed to keep away from Willie D though? He has indeed. He's pulled that gap straight back out to 2.5 seconds. So Willie D really has not had a good time of it and he's back down into 10th place. We're going to check at the front very quickly. We'll all go back to this battle though soon because Scott is closing in on GT Racer. Sonam, I think, has got this sewn up 6.2 seconds up on Ryan is Bad, who's got a 10-second Gapperoni pizza to Pebsy there. Goodness me. Terminator just lurking in the background there in P4. I don't think he's going to get Pebsy unless Pebsy runs out of fuel. His fuel is blinking red now, so he's in the danger zone. Terminator's got that a little bit more in the tank, so if it comes down to a flat-out drag race down the straight, this could be where we see it. Brett in P5 chasing down Terminator. Beardy heading to the final. Long right-hander now in P6. 26 seconds there up on Bradley Carter, who of course would have definitely profited and be a bit more at ease with that Scott incident previously. There's GT Racer and Scott now. Only a tenth divides them. We're going to ride on board from Scott as he follows GT Racer towards the last carousel. Scott on the very last drops of fuel there. As GT Racer goes for the wider line, we'll quickly check in on Sonam as he crosses the finish line to take race one of tonight's Beetles and a fastest lap to boot. Here comes Cuzzy for an excellent P2 finish. Thoroughly deserved and strategic driving there from Cuzzy. Pebsy's going to come through and take P3. A good race from Pebsy as well. And Terminator just lurking there in P4. Probably not bothered to ditch his penalty. He knows he's got a gap behind him to Brett in P5. There's Beardy in P6. So we're going to check back now to Bradley Carter down the straight. Scott has gotten past GT Racer and is now half a second up, but GT Racer will be back in the slipstream. Has Scott made his move too early? I think he might well have done. GT Racer goes clean around the outside, almost forced onto the grass, but keeps the position. Excellent driving from the South African. Can he get it stopped though for the final few corners? Scott is so close but doesn't push for a move. Very respectful driving, and it looks like GT Racer will take it. And Scott, I think, just concedes a little bit too much time there, compromised his exit, and he's going to let him go. But excellent racing from this pair to the very end of the race. Weedy there, I think he's run out of fuel. Very unfortunate there. Tim Pro will snag P10 by the absolute skin of his teeth. Willie D there going to roll over the line in P11. And we'll have a short interlude, I believe, as Mr. Navoli comes round to finish his lap. We've got Lays back in the chat saying, Urban, my man. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with, I believe it was P4. It was indeed P4 for Terminator. So, unfortunately, Urban Fire, we didn't get the win, but just off the podium for the Terminator. But that'll be a huge points haul. He'll be very proud to take home heading into race 2. So just as we watch Mr. Navoli finish his lap, I will join you all again very soon. So here comes Mr. Navoli to finish his first race of 2 this evening. Finishing P12 in the first one, so not the result he would have liked, but this will, of course, put him on 2nd place at the grid for the reverse grid, no fuel and no tyre sprint race. There's your winner for this evening, though. A clean sweep, the holy trinity of pole position, fastest lap, and clean race to boot is THG Sonam. So I'm going to quickly put the race results up for you just while I head to the toilet, and I will join you in a moment for race 2. Don't go anywhere. Alright, thank you for bearing with me. We return for race 2 of the Beetle League, the Amigos Racing Team Beetle League. And for race 2, as you can see, it will be in the dark. So the drivers now, without the challenge of tyre wear and fuel consumption, but with the added challenge of the green hell at its most evil, at its darkest, as Lay says in the chat, the darkness makes a lot of difference. So we'll have to see if he can race at night as well as he does in the day. Mike saying, you got to press the pedal on the right, Ranger. Of course, I think he would find that quite helpful. Depends if he's around to hear your feedback, of course, Mike. He may have gone for another kebab. Maybe he's gone to get a milkshake for dessert. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Hopefully, he's going to pull something out of the bag that's not just a couple of soggy chips. We'll have to see how he does. Brad in the chat, good evening, Squid. Good evening, Brad. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Actually, while we got Brad there as well, I've probably mentioned 1,000,001 times that he's our resident race driver, resident rally driver. He's selling his Rallycross Suzuki Swift, made for the Suzuki Swift Championships, which races alongside the British Rallycross, Five Nations Rallycross, and sometimes even the World Rallycross Championships. Their next race is at Lydden Hill. I think it's this weekend, actually. Can't quite remember. This weekend or next weekend, I can't remember which one. So I don't think he'll be there driving, but if you do want to get involved in some rallycross and you've got about almost 10 grand to spare, send him a message and he'll sell you a rally car. So as you can see there, a vastly different beast at night time. Of course, it's Beetles with a blinding lights that the weekend would be proud of. Even a little afterglow of the brake calipers there, Beardy heads off the Nordschleife, you can see there. A very impressive shot for photo mode. Of course, in Amigos Racing Team, we're not just about driving fast and burning tyres and fuel. We've got room for livery designers, suit and helmet artists, photographers, and I believe we're also trying to get our new Clips of the Week series. So if you take part in an Amigos League, or if you'd like to get involved with us and maybe have an open lobby race with us, and you get a good clip or some awesome shots, please make sure you join our Discord and send them in. We would love to see you. I'm actually thinking of that as well. It's been too long since we had the photo competition. The management's watching. Bring back the photo comp. So I won it at least twice, and I want to do some more. I believe in a few moments we'll be getting underway with race 2. It's a quick check if anyone's missing off the grid. I think it's probably Ranger. A quick double check. No, Ranger's on the grid. I stand corrected. So in that case, I think in a couple of minutes we'll be setting up as is anyway. In fact, Beardy's in the pits, so it may even be now. Set up this quick maybe ride on board with the Terminator, his favourite track. As well, then again, maybe you ain't got so much time anymore. We're about to get going. We've got 3 seconds, 2, 1, and we are gonna line up now. Now, sounds very much like me teaching. So, 13 Beetles. This time for a rolling start, heading out of the Tiergarten and onto the GP straight. To 7 of you watching, brace yourselves for 30 minutes of absolute Beetle bonkers driving around the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So as we see there, Ranger, who finished the previous race in last place, will be starting from pole this time. Let's hope we can put up a slightly better fight than in the previous event. Willie D in second place. I believe Mr. Navoli has he disappeared? Mr. Navoli, we lost him. We lost Mr. Navoli. Not great, but never mind then. That puts Willie D up into P2, which will make him a much stronger contender, I think, as Ranger leads them down into turn 1. I don't think we've got any big moves going on just yet. Scott, look at the inside Timpro, but ducks out before the apex. Very smart driving there. We've got GT Racer there with Bradley Carter on the inside. He's gotten past GT Racer. We can't really see with all the bright lights to get past Scott as well. We've had a look, but no dice for the time being. I think I'm going to quickly check the chase cam just to make it a little bit easier to focus on the cars, because those lights are very bright coming from the front. The GT Racer in 6th there, Beardy in 7th, Brett is in 9th, in 8th place, trying to watch Beardy on the move against GT, but no dice for the time being. Pebsy in 9th, half second up there on the Terminator. In P10, Cuzzy is down in 11th place, of course having come second in the last race, and Sonan being a bit more conservative now from the back. I'm sure he's expecting many incidents to come from this race, and he's going to start picking off the drivers one by one as they maybe get over familiar with the track limits. Can't see any incidents so far though, but I can see Willie D is now ahead of Ranger. You see him leading the train there. I think that maybe a move on the outside, is that? No, it's Timbo's just having a look. No dice just yet. We jump back to Sonam. Let's watch the field snake through the NGK chicane and then on to the Nordschleife. So he's running a little bit wide there as he enters, but he's going for that kind of wider middle part of the corner there to make a straight line his exit. And now onto the green hell, or maybe could even be the black hell. It's going to be very dark now. The faint hint of sunshine on the horizon there. The white baby car rampaging through the Nordschleife. We've got Tim Pranos also up into P2. I think they're going to track Ranger and see if he can hold his own. Say that again, actually, he's gone very wide there, sideways. That contact with Scott, it may well have been, but he's all kinds of out of shape there. And now look at this car swipe behind him. He's been pushed off the grass, in fact, I think. And now he's down into 8th already. Made that 9th because Brett's about to come past him over the Flugplatz. He has done indeed. Now he's got Terminator behind him now. Cuts the inside. That goes from 9th to 10th. It's getting worse for Ranger. He's down at 11th and now finds himself at the back of the pack. Extremely unfortunate for him there. Let's see if we can jump back on board and see find out where it all went wrong. So he's having a great time there in 3rd place. What has happened to Ranger? So he's just run wide there, heading down towards the Flugplatz. Big contact with Scott. He survives a big jump up in the rear from Bradley Carter, I believe, that maybe wants to give Scott the place back. But by trying to give Scott the place back, he's let everybody else through. It is an awful feeling when that happens. Scott's finally gone past. Now he's got to concede the place to Brett. And now you've got Terminator at the inside, much more momentum. And then he has to let Ryan as well through. And then Sonam, and now he's found himself at the back of the train. It's the last thing you want to do. And we've cut back to him, and he's not had a good time there, has he? Poor Ranger. Can we get an F or an R or something in the chat for Ranger, please? Keep him motivated. His front bumper might be damaged, but not his spirit. Bradley Carter, though, making the most of a stonking start there now up into P3. The liquor flame there from the really cool side bonnet exhaust of the Beetle. Really nice feature they've put on this car. Beardy in P4, then pursued by GT Racer in P5. Scott and Brett Raquette nose to tail in 6th and 7th respectively, and the Terminator lurking in the background there in P8. We've got Cuzzy and Sonam going side by side there through these corners now. Sonam is now ahead of Cuzzy up into P9, so he's really trying to get a move on now. And Cuzzy has got the almighty Pepsi behind him in P11. So what we're doing actually, we're going to ride on board with said Pepsi. Actually following this train of about 6 cars, I think, all in all. Through the trigger right hander. This is probably my least favourite corner of the track. Pepsi showing you why. It's very easy to get wrong, and unfortunately he has done. I'm not sure he's going to concede 17 seconds to Ranger, but that's the last thing he wanted to see. We can get another quick look at that, see where exactly he's gone wrong as he heads into his right hand corner. But he's just overcooked it, not slowed down enough. And he's kept his foot ever so slightly on the throttle, locked the diff at the rear, and the tyres have sent him off into the crash barrier. We'll jump to the front there. Weedy kicking up some sparks with his 2-second gap there to Tim Pro in P2. And I think Mike was cheering on Tim Pro to try and get a better result this time. He is doing very well. 4-second gap now over our host Beardy in P3. Make that 3.5. There's a tremendous exit there, heading towards the carousel. We've got Bradley Carter in P4, Scott in 5th. And now as we hear them process through the carousel, we've got Sam actually being pushed there by Terminator, almost drifting around the carousel there. And then our side by side, a little bit of dust picks up there as well for good measure. These two really giving it they're going hammer and nail there. There's GT Racer in P8, and we got Brett and Kazi again with no as well. There's a yellow flag, someone has gone off, and it's Scott, I believe. I want to see what's happened here. So Scott from 5th place. He's just got up on the curb, it's really unsettled the car and straight into the crash barrier, and there goes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Unfortunately for Scott, he's really not had a good time with this so far. And finds himself now down in 11th place as looks like Ranger's gone for that early kebab. You can write this, Ranger, come on. Hopefully now some more time to make it on Kazi. He's 4 seconds off there from the number 6 driver, what I was thinking of. We'll run the board though with Kazi. You can see these cars, it's very tactical to make them white cars. They reflect so much light, it almost puts you off there. And he heads down into this double right-hander, almost running towards the gravel but keeps it intact, taking lots of entry and exit curve there. Really carry all the momentum of this Beetle through the undulating track here at the Nürburgring. GT Racer finds himself off on the grass, fortunately straight lines it and keeps it back on the black stuff. Of course, with no tyre wear, you don't have to worry so much about having dirty tyres should you veer off the circuit, but it's going to cost him some time here to Kazi as he pursues him on the inside of the carousel. And now watch these two battling as they head onto the triple right-hander at Galgenkopf. And GT Racer is in the wall. I don't know how many times I've done that move, but you can see there, he's even spun as well. Poor guy. Will he make the 360? Not quite, but he will, fortunately, give Pepsi the inside line. Trying to see what's happened there to GT Racer. Oh, I think I've missed it. I'll try to go back again, even further if I can. No, unfortunately, I've not the back tire. He just hit the grass, kept his foot in it, and the car has just got gripped. I don't think so. And he's lost there down to P10. Checking back in though with Willie D. As speaking of Willie D, I believe the Thoughtbots are back, so we better get rid of those. Remove. If we could just block people, that'd be lovely. Hide user on this channel, that should do. So yes, so you mentioned Willie D once, and all the webcam girls come running. Willie D there, 5 seconds up on Tim Pro in P2. Sunam had an incredible first lap from P13 to P3. And now chasing down Tim Pro with a deficit of 2 seconds. He's got just about a second in hand to Beardy, who's got Bradley Carter 7.5 tenths back. That crucial slipstream will make that 6 tenths now as he follows him down to the Dunlop hairpin. It's right on board with Beardy. You see Bradley Carter really drawing up into there, drawing up on him, but clips a late apex to try and recoup some of his lost time there as they now head up into the infamous Schumacher S's, the left-right. Careful that gravel trap though, Beardy. He takes a little bit more of it than he would have liked to, but he's still up on Bradley Carter, but now only by 3 tenths. In fact, he's earned a penalty, I think, for taking too much of the track limits. And will we see Bradley Carter go for a move out of the Advang corner and up towards the NGK chicane? We'll have to see. He's got 3 tenths down on Beardy, but he will have a heck of a slipstream heading up the hill. Is there a move to be made here? No, I don't think so. That braking engine isn't big enough. Beardy though can much more speed, much braver on the brakes, and doubles his lead there over Bradley Carter. Great driving from Beardy. Knows he's going to make some time there. Either way, these two fighting, it hasn't cost him too much time to Terminator there. 4.3 seconds up. Terminator really wants to make a fight through the pack now at one of his favourite, if not his favourite track. but he's got a little bit more pressure on him now. He's got Brett Requet behind him in P7, and Ryan is bad, you know, in P8. Brett and Ryan two almost inseparable drivers. No matter what series and cars you put them in, you will almost always find these two having a real ding-dong battle, and it's something that both as a fellow competitor and a commentator I love to see. These are definitely my two favourite rivals on the track. Brett runs a little bit wide there as they head out of Hatton back, I believe. Now down through the Flugplatz. Cuzzy is right behind Brett, but not quite in a place to make a suitable move. There's a lift off on the throttle, you see there, as they head onto the double right-hander there. Brett dipping his toes on the grass, that might cost him some time now. As they head flat out through Schwaldensville and now towards Arenberg. Is there a move going on here? Late move. He's having a look at the inside. He's really, really close. Less than a minute almost, but no, not quite. As Roadrunner Dan. Isn't that a blast from the past? Roadrunner Dan. Hello, strangers. Hello, Dan. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. It's been a long time. You ought to be in track. You ought to be doing the Beetle. Have a quick look back at the front nose. We can see there Sonam is now up into P11. There's been somebody near the back of the pack that's actually quit, I'm afraid. Someone put Cuzzy in a wall. Oh, that's not particularly good, but I'm glad you've told me about that. Yeah, it was GT Race we've lost there. So GT Race is no more. We're now down to 11. The Green Hell has claimed 2 victims, and we're only on lap 2. But it's not claimed Willie D. 7.5 seconds up on Sonam, but that gap is coming down. Sonam just overtaking Tim Pro with 9 tenths in hand and hoping to escape that slipstream range. All good. There's Brady Carter lurking in the background, and Beardy trying to reel him in as well. We've got Terminator trying to catch up to these two. 2 seconds back in P6. Dan saying Legion I weren't allowed in Division 1. That's because we shouldn't be allowing aliens into our atmosphere. We've got Brett there in P7 still, fighting with Cuzzy. Half a second between them in 7 and 8 respectively. But if they're going to fight for much longer, they're going to invite Pebsy into the fray. They both run quite wide there up at the ex-Muller, I believe it is. Now Pebsy within a second as Brad is getting some extra support there from Roadrunner Dan. Go on, Bradders. I can't say the other word because that might get a video demonetized. Now within 1/10. Now let's get some interesting on-board action there from Ryan. Right up behind Brett. Maybe with a cheeky bump draft to try and catch him up to Terminator and Beardy. You can see 2 drivers up ahead. And you know it's a real second wind when you can see one guy just up the road. But seeing the 2 of them so close together is only going to push them further. You see 160 miles an hour almost. About 260 k's heading through this really long flat sector through Kesselhen and Klostertal before they slam on the anchors at towards the carousel here in this little sector coming up. We're almost halfway through. We had a big change in the pack. They said we've lost 2 drivers already. Sonam's gone from last to second in the space of 1 lap. He's really on the march, as are these guys here, Brett and Ryan, who are trying to draw back up to Terminator and Beardy for ultimately what could be a 5-way battle for 5th. As if we look back, Pebsy is now in the slipstream of Ryan. Roadrunner Dan suggesting that Ryan's favourite place is with his nose at someone's rear end. Well, I'm not one to judge what people want to do at the Nürburgring at 22:30 in the evening. But as long as we've all agreed and we're happy, I can't really complain. Because he's still trying to stay out of the slipstream range of Pebsy, but Pebsy is now in the slipstream range, so we'll get a little bit of a jump on from Pebsy there. If we get the inside view, there's the cockpit view we love here. Heading into the tricky right-hander there. He's using some of the run-off. We've now got a 4-way battle here. Terminator's really lost some time as they head up through YouTube corner. Are we going to get a YouTube-worthy incident? No. Oh, there's a lot of dust and some squabbling going on. Pebsy right up the rear of Ryan, and Ryan has gone off after YouTube corner, but has fortunately kept it on the straight and narrow by using the grass. Very close there, but Ryan is now in position to Pebsy, and he needs to make sure he can make some gains quickly, knowing that Terminator may well be the cork in this bottle. speaking of cork in the bottle, we can see how Wheelie's getting on against Sonam. He's now only 2 seconds away from the Greek Freak. Dan saying Plebsy, get his name right. Well, I can't call him Plebsy, but we do call him Pebsy Max. I see those, but Pebsy Max definitely hasn't got much sugar in him at the moment down in P8. Please make sure he gets some places up there, please. Willie D, oh, my mic's fallen off there. Willie D now within 1.5 seconds almost there of Sonam, just chasing him down, lurking in the background there. And at the hill in the very far back, 9 seconds away, we can see Tim Pro, and a second off him is Bradley Carter. There's Beardy in P5, and now the train rolls into the station. Beardy, Terminator, Brett, Pebsy, just out the slipstream there is Cuzzy. He's really got to get a move on. I'm sure we'll see these cars back up as they head through Antonius Bush and Tiergarten down Dr. Gahara. Yes, Dan, I'm still using the crappy PS4 mic with one earphone, but it's kept me in commentating so far. It's not let me down. I'm not getting one of those blue Yetis or whatever they are, because I've just got no space in my flat, I'm afraid. But hopefully the situation will be changing soon, in which case I may well be able to offer you guys something a little bit more ear-friendly. We'll have to see though. Cuzzy dropping his penalty as he heads onto the start finish straight for lap 3. But of course that is going to cost him more time for Pepsi. He's now about 4 seconds off of that battle for 5th place. Let's jump back to the front there as Bradley Carter's now getting involved as well. As Tony's been completely reset. Trying to take maybe a little bit too much there for turn 1. And he's not made the turn at all. So have a quick look as he's chasing down Bradley Carter. Possibly even Tim Pro to make this massive battle for P3. He's quite late on the brakes. Bradley Carter takes the inside. Terminator mate hasn't seen the apex. Tried to cut the whole lot and has lost 4 places instead. I should laugh, it's very unfortunate. But for somebody who drives this track so much and knows it like the back of their hand, I think Dan puts it best, Terminator went into the Matrix. I think he's you know the Terminator, he time travels, doesn't he? He's been sent back 2 turns and now finds himself down in P9, but he'll be back. Let's check at the battle for the lead though. Tim Pro in P3, but we got Weedy now is only 6/10 up on Sonam. He's really put the pressure on him now with 12 minutes to go. If Sonam can make this game some point soon, I'm sure this will be his race to lose. Weedy again, a little bit more time as they head onto the Nordschleife. As Dan says, Terminator at T1, I'll be back. Yeah, POV, your race has just been terminated by track limits. Willie D trying to open up that gap now to Sonam, back up to a second, but for how long, that's the question. Does it beat me to it, Squid? Oh, we've got to do the co-commentary soon, you need to be back. Like Terminator. Anyway, Sam is 1.3 off of Dan, but this lead battle is a healthy 11 seconds up from Tim Pro and P2. Tim Pro, to be fair, actually, I've not spoken about him much this race, but has done a cracking job of maintaining what wasn't a great race 1. He kept P3 for an extremely long time so far, and I really hope he can fend off the rest of them behind him, because that is going to be a big train forming up soon. You can see them already going through the Flugplatz. Brad in 4, and now a 10.5 to Beardy, 3/10 to Pebsy, and just about slipstream distance there to Brett. So this could ultimately be a big battle for P3 coming in the next few corners. We'll jump aboard quickly with Beardy as he looks up the rear of Bradley Carter. He's gone very close there. The compromising run, he's got Pebsy on the outside. Pebsy a brave move around the outside, a bit of side-to-side contact. Beardy is not going to accept a bold move like that. And Pebsy has to settle for P6 for the time being. That's going to invite Brett back into the battle, as there's a huge side there from Pebsy, I think. Completely shoved off into the wall there. He will be fuming. Of course, not just sparks flying from the under trays. Goodness me. See if we get a quick look at that and see what's happened there. So Pebsy's right up behind Beardy. I think maybe Beardy's just not seen him. In fact, Pebsy's not even seen where the track was. It's so dark. Concentrating on following Beardy that he just didn't see where that little left kink was and found himself off the track. Dan saying, go on Beardy, show him the ART way. Well, I thought we were the art of racing as opposed to the Amigos ramming team, but maybe there's something I've not been told. Either way, this has cost over some time to Beardy, and now Ryan is lurking in the background after having dropped that penalty. Terminator's also trying to join this fight from that unfortunate reset he had at turn 1. He's back on the fight in P9. I'm sure we're seeing him getting even closer very soon. Pepsi running another wheel into the grass there. He's really testing the limits of grip on that Beetle, and even sideways out of the ex-Muller there. Wow, he's really getting much there. Now Sonam is finally past Willie D, and 8 and a bit seconds up. This maybe Willie's had a bit of an accident there. So sounds like a very 3-year-old child phrase. Willie D saying there, or Dan saying that me and Bradders are part of the Amigos Rally team on dirt, but it didn't last long. It didn't. We're still waiting for the rally special I believe Langston was meant to host, but couldn't for other issues. Hopefully that will be back soon. Sonamo with a 9-second gap up on Willie D, 5.5 seconds up on Tim Pro, who's actually eked out a little bit more of a gap there to 2.4, so he really is capitalising on those guys fighting behind him, namely Beardy down to Terminator, I believe. We've got, again, the ties of margin between about 4 or 5 cars. Beardy's only half a second up on Pepsi, who's managed to get past Ryan here. Only a quarter of a second behind Beardy, but less than a tenth at one point there, separating him and Ryan. We've been watching more than from Ryan. Yeah, right up the rear of Pepsi, you almost can't see. Officials make the same mistake Pepsi did and miss where the track was, but he's going to make a good turn here as they head towards the carousel. Dan says, who's Tim Pro? He's alright. Tim Pro hasn't been in ART for a particularly long time, but he has made a huge improvement. If you see a yellow flag coming out the carousel, not too sure what's happened there. You've got a spinner. Willie D is spun. Willie D spun. He's spun again. Make sure he's out of the way of Brett Roquette just about. But what's happened to Willie D? He's got a ring wide on the carousel there, and he's gone off on the exit, and that's going to cost him time there. Tim Pro's going to go past. He goes through Willie D. Very brave there. Thank you for ghosting. That puts Willie D though down into P7. It's Willie Donuts. So he's been called there. And Brett going past as well for P9. P8, sorry. Willie D manages to keep P9, but poor guy doing so well to fend off Sonam as well for as long as he did. But I think this race, as we said before, is now going to be sewn up by the Greek driver. Pebsy up into P3. See quickly how he's done that. He's gone past Beardy. He's now fighting with Cuzzy. There's 3 drivers. Look, 3 drivers separated by less than half a second. They're Cuzzy trying to run the outside of Beardy. Incredible driving here. Danny, if you want to know about Tim Pro, Urban Fire's just told you in the chat there. Let's see if we can get a replay there of Pepsi getting past Beardy. Let's have a look. So Pepsi there up in P4 as you watch it from right split. Beardy, he's hit the dirt there. Pepsi running outside at YouTube corner. That will make for some highlights. Fantastic driving there. Rhino still trying to catch up with Beardy, and here's the Terminator. We told you he'd be back, and there were about 6 sequels, and you know he was coming back. Terminator though is just out of the 6-string range of Ryan. Question is, can he get back in before they get on the dot in Yahoo to make sure he can catch up with this lead pack? I don't think he will. He's 9/10 back, and this is only going to increase as Ryan keeps the slipstream from Beardy. You see Ryan bump drafting Beardy, trying to catch back up. As you see a Tim Pro at the end of this straight here, they really have reeled in the P2 driver. Ryan's now trying to get past Beardy, 170 miles an hour now. So looking at, I want to say maybe 180, maybe 300, maybe about 280k there, I think. Heading under the Bilstein gantry there. He's now up on Beardy, maybe Beardy's giving him a friendly bump off in return there, as they head down into the Tiergarten for the end of lap 3. I believe this will be the end of the penultimate lap. Next lap should be our final tour of the Nordschleife. Recapping our running order, we've got Sonam there, who is 18 seconds up on the battle for P2, and Tim Pro's really got his work cut out if he wants to hold on to this podium. As Urban Fire says, won the Clubman tournament last year, and he's getting faster. 273 Ks. That was close. I'm not so keen on Ks, but I'm alright with the miles per hour at least when it's down the bottom. Tim Pro in P2. Now he's got that 1.5 gap. It is dropping. Come on, Tim Pro, get a move on. Show him why you're not in Clubman's anymore. Come on. Pebsy in P3. And now this is where we've got our train for the final spot on the podium. Pebsy, 3/10 up on Cuzzy, 3/10 up on Beardy, 5/10 up on the Terminator. So this really is anybody's place as it stands. And of course we've still got, check our track map again, we've still got about, I want to say another, we've still got the Nordschleife, we've got another maybe 23 kilometres of racetrack left. So it really is anyone's guess, we've got plenty of time for it. So the 9 of you watching, you've tuned in at an excellent time. You're currently watching the battle for what could be P3, if not P2, after 25 minutes of racing at the Nordschleife in the dark. The fact it's come down to such a close margin only makes for exciting racing. So exciting that one of our 9 viewers has in fact disconnected with sheer enthusiasm and shock. The fact you can find such close, enjoyable racing on Gran Turismo Sport with its abominable penalty system. They just couldn't believe it and they rage quit YouTube. We're going to follow from Pebsy, check back on board from him. 25 kilometres. Well, that was close. Stop fact checking me. Right, Pebsy in 3rd. Now a 10.5 up on Cuzzy, but of course there's really nowhere to make a move here unless you're very brave or someone messes up. So he's probably going to have to sit tight and follow him through the Flugplatz as they head out of that tricky first sector of the Nordschleife. These drivers almost inseparable. We've got 3/10 here, 6/10 here, another 9/10. So 4 drivers covered by 2 seconds. Really incredible stuff after such a long period of sustained concentration around this demonic circuit. I'm not a fan of the Nordschleife, as I'm sure you can tell. But you can tell Tim Pro's not going to be a fan of these guys getting up in the rear of his car. He's going to go as hard as he can through Schwaldensville. As Pebsy now showing those on the inside, going to the outside. We've got their right side on the grass. Pebsy at the inside doesn't go for it. Pebsy gets past, but Riley is off the grass, almost crashed straight through Beardy, and now they are, I believe, side by side. No, Beardy makes that pass. Very controlled. And there's Terminator in the background there, trying to get past. Bradley Carter's also getting involved in his battle as well. Brett is falling off the back of Terminator. Quite far away actually. This is going to leave Bradley Carter with a chance to claim P7 and see if they can get a quick replay of what happened to Cuzzy. It's Bradley. I think he might have gone off there. He's gone to the wrong person. There's Cuzzy there, off on the grass. Beardy just gets it stopped. A little bit of a nudge there as well to keep him going. But not what Brian was looking for. Not what Ryan was looking for there. Trying to get P3 and find himself down in P5. Make that P4 though, as it looks like Tim Pro starting to lose some places, maybe a mistake earlier, and now finds himself down in P6, pushing Pebsy up to 2nd, Beardy 3rd, and Cuzzy to 4th. We've got Terminator still hot on their heels in 5th place. Be careful, double right hander, there goes Ryan, sideways again, and he's lost it. Just pushing too hard on that last lap. And now he's going to make the infamous Austin Powers 27-point turn to get back going the way he needs to. Down in P7, make that 8 as Bradley Carter goes past. Ryan will be distraught and utterly disappointed. Dan thinks he's been chewing on more walls. Well, Wolf do make some lovely ice cream, but it's not the walls that I'd want to be eating at this time. Quick check down on Scott. Not to be Scott for a while. He might even have a go at Cuzzy if Cuzzy has a spin again. 5.9 seconds back, and only 4 minutes back is Ranger with a little bit of front damage to boot. I think we'll see Ranger park it on the start line as he's done before, and call this one a night. I think he's probably got a pizza in the oven he needs to attend to. So now, running away with this event, 22.3 seconds. Goodness me, if that space were a hot drink, it'd be a cappuccino. Pebsy in P2. The grass got me spinning. I see what you did there, sir. Pebsy in P2. 2 seconds up on Terminator, who has reclaimed his throne and is back in P3. Beardy then is now down to P4. Tim Pro in 5th. I really want to see Tim Pro at least keep P5. A top 5 finish would be excellent for him. And with a 9-second gap, 8.5-second gap to Brett Rickett, it is possible. Come on, Tim Pro. We've got Brett the Belgian in P6. Sebastian Vettel, as he is often known. But will he make it up into P5? For the number that Sebastian Vettel actually wears, I remembered. 1.8 seconds up on the carousel, as Brett will not be making it up into P5 as he spins right in front of our cameraman. Rams the wall for fun as and finds himself down in P9 when all is said and done. Poor Brett, not what we were looking to see there. How has it happened? And look, now it's the carousel. He's just too hard on the throttle on the way out. He's not waiting for the car to come around for him. Commentator's curse, I think Dan has said. Yeah, I think he's pretty good at that. It helps with the rubbish PS4 microphone anyway. Ranger's crossed the line first with the flag, therefore he has won the race. Sonam is still probably about a mile ahead of everybody else. He's 23 seconds up on Pebsy. Pebsy's still increasing his gap there to 4 seconds on the Terminator. Terminator there, you can just see Beardy in the background as well. Yes, the Renago finishes first, well done. So Terminator 2.1, 2.2 there, up on Beardy. Beardy's still holding off Tim Pro, 1.3 seconds. Tim Pro, obviously with that Brett spin, now has 11.4 seconds up on Ryan is Bad, or should almost have P5 guaranteed at this point. Ryan in P6, he's got a fairly healthy 1.6 seconds up on Bradley Carter, 5 and a bit seconds in hand on Scott, who's got another 2 seconds up on Brett. You see, I think somebody else left the race now, so Nordschleife has claimed 3 people this evening, which is a shame, but it does happen. I'm going to quickly check in on our drivers as they head down the Dottingerhöhe, the final straight. Any slipstream battles going on that we'd like to see? Not so sure about Terminator, but we've got Beardy having to fight off Tim Pro as Paul Nelson says, come on Pebsy, my Jamaican queen. Jamaican me crazy for a P2 right now, Pebsy, let's get it. Tim Pro is not going to get Beardy down the straight, he's just out of the slipstream, and it must be agonising for him to watch there. Fernand crossing the line in P1, some sparks flying there, I think Terminator flashing his lights, hoping for some screen time at the end. Let's see Pebsy cross the line there. The Jamaican Queen claims P2. Paul, he's flashing for you, although I probably should say that like that way. We got Terminator cross the line there in P3. Beardy in 4th, 1.5 seconds behind. My driver of the day here, Tim Pro. An excellent race for him. Well done, Tim Pro. 10 seconds back there, about to cross the line is Ryan is Bad. Another 6 seconds behind him there. Bradley Carter holding off Scott by about 3 seconds. And our last driver to cross the line, 2 and a bit seconds behind him, will be the muscles from Brussels, Sebastian Vettel. But your winner, second in a row, is THG Sonav, the Greek freak. Extends the lead in the championship now from THG Pebsy. Unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you what the points are for the time being, but I'm sure Justin will fill you in if he returns next Wednesday. Quick recap of our race results before we say goodnight. We have THG Sonam in P1, a clear-cut victory for him, almost 25 seconds up on his humble guy's teammate Pebsy GT. Terminator found himself in 9th place at one point, but crawled his way back onto the podium for a P3. Beardy in P4, and thank you for hosting, Beardy. It's a tremendous event. I hope to join you guys next week as a driver. Tim Pro in P5, driver of the day. Well done, Tim Pro. You should be incredibly proud. An excellent finish. Ryan is Bad, you know, he definitely showed us that with a couple of spins on the last lap of the Nordschleife. He'll be disappointed with P6. Bradley Carter up into P7, a good finish for him. Scott in P8, unfortunately 1 or 2 spins for him as well, put paid to his race. Hopefully he'll be back stronger next week, as hopefully will Brett Rickett. Far too many spins for him tonight. He will not be happy with his performance, but every cloud has a silver lining. We'll see him back next week on form. We've got Ranger in P10, who did Ranger things, and unfortunately Willie D in P11, who wasn't having a good time of it at all. With that then, we'll bring the stream to a close. So thank you all for watching and tuning in. Good night down in the comments, and thank you, Paul, for your feedback. I really appreciate that. It's very nice of you. Join us next week. We'll join Justin next week as we take the Beatles to, if I can find the pins, the chat's here somewhere. We've just done the Nordschleife, so the next one is going to be the French track of Alsace. So we'll see you next week for some Beatles in France. I've been Super Squid. You will be amazing. Have a nice Wednesday evening.